Hi everyone, I'm Joey and I'm here to show you some really fun techniques to do with your embossing folders. If you're not sure what those are, well then you're in the right place, and if you do know what those are, you're in the right place too. Whether you're a beginning stamper or an avid stamper, embossing folders add a real wow to all your projects, and they're really easy to use and fun, and I'm going to show you some additional ways to use them other than out of the norm today. So when you jump on, say hi. I always love to know where you're from, and then other people as well like to know where you're from. I'm just pulling up my, sorry, I got to get really close to the, whoops, to my camera, to pull myself up on my iPad so I can see what you're seeing. And then also I've got my laptop going here, and that's where I see your comments so that I can say hello back to you. And if you have questions, I'll see them coming in. Because once I turn my phone down so you can see what I'm making, I won't be able to see the comments on my phone anymore. And so I have to see them on my video, on my laptop. So that's going, everything's going. So how is everybody today? Hi, Kathy. So at least Kathy found me. So I know since I was gone to Norway with Stampin' Up on the incentive trip, well, I got back a week from Monday night, a week from last night, yeah. Oh, it's been a whirlwind ever since. It was a whirlwind before I left and a whirlwind now, and I'm still getting caught up. But I was not on Facebook for 2 weeks in a row. 2 Wednesdays I missed, and I always think it takes people a little bit longer to get back on to start watching again. So there's Kelly. All right, so people are finding me. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're watching on Facebook or you're watching the replay and you haven't liked or followed my page yet, I invite you to do that if you'd like to see more of what I'm showing you with stamping and crafting and stress. I feel like I teach stress relief through stamping and crafting. That's what I hope to do, to make your lives a little less stressful and give you a little inspiration for your creative projects. So if you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much for watching. I always upload my Facebook Live videos to YouTube. You can find all the links to follow me on my in the description of the video. And everything that I'm talking about today, I'll have linked below so that you don't miss anything. And I invite you also to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss future videos either. Okay, my friends, I'm going to go ahead and click you down. I have to click a little toolbar here. Let me find it. And here it is. And then I'll go upside down, but then when I turn you towards my workspace, you're going to be right side up. So let's try that. And I can see that my camera's, I'm going to raise up my camera a little bit, sorry. I had it down for making a video yesterday, so it's not a Facebook Live. So then it kind of gets wacky and gets in a different position. So, whoops, turned it too far. Sorry, I know if you're motion sick, don't look for a minute till we get it all straightened around. I'll move over this way and this way. It's like I need to tweak on my camera a little bit here. Let's try that. That's a little bit better. There you go. Okay. Today's class is a free class. It's a class to go if you'd like to get all the card supplies. You can get them with just a $35 order from my online store using this code, or I will embed the link in the comments in just a moment. So we're going to make 3 cards today using embossing folders, and if you like to have PDF instructions, you'll also get those with your $35 order. Usually I require $50 to get the PDF tutorial because they are a lot of work. They're probably the most time-consuming thing I do. So, but this week, as a thank you for all of you that helped me get to Norway, and just for a thank you for watching today and ordering this week, you have till Sunday night to order to get this class for free. So you get all the supplies you see here, And then you do need your own stamps and ink for this because it's a class to go. This class is not meeting in person. But you'll get a PDF, and then if you order $50, you'll also get an embellishment. Most likely the one I'm using today, if they're in stock. I always have to say, if they're in stock, this is what you'll get. All right, let's go. Diane's here, Lisa's here, Kelly's here. Hey everybody, thanks for jumping on with me. But this is what my PDF tutorials look like. And then you get a full picture of the project, and then a close-up picture, and then detailed directions, and then also a list of what I used. So if you have questions about what I used, you can find it here. So if you want to reproduce them in exactly the way I did, then you have everything, all the dimensions too. I don't know if I mentioned that, but all the dimensions are in the PDF. And one more thing before I go on, I'm going to talk about Paper Pumpkin. So Paper Pumpkin is a subscription. I haven't talked about it on my videos for a long time, but it comes to your mailbox every month. It's about, let's see, I want to say around $20, give or take some tax on it. The shipping's included in the cost, but maybe it's a little more than that now. If you guys know how much it is, those of you watching, because if you're Paper Pumpkin subscribers, you know. Sorry, I didn't even look it up. I should know the answer to that. But anyway, this month, it was exploring in color, and I've been working on some projects with it. I'll show you some of those later, but you get a stamp set, an ink spot, instructions, and all the supplies to make whatever project it is. It's usually cards. This one was 9 cards and envelopes. Now this, I'm showing this to you because these cards are available in the online store still to Paper Pumpkin subscribers. It's a refill kit. Oh, here we go. So this is one of my alternatives that I made for this kit, and I have another one here somewhere too. I'll show it to you when I find it. And this uses this embossing technique that we're going to use today. Not this exact card, but I'm going to teach you this embossing technique, how to add texture. Can you see how it's actually ingrained in the wood grain? This is called the Timber 3D Embossing Folder. So anyway, the next kit is Welcome In, and it coordinates with the Countryside Inn Suite collection, and there are 3 little dies available as an add-on purchase right now. Well, I looked yesterday, they were still available, but they're only while supplies last. So if you're interested in that, go to my online store and type in Welcome In, and it'll bring you to these little dies if you want to order those with your kit. You do have to subscribe by the 10th of the month, not the 20th. The 20th will get you next month instead of this month. Alrighty. Well, and one more thing, I just wanted to show you my Cheerful Daisies class. I did a whole video on this, a sneak peek that'll go out to my email people, and I'll probably try to plug that in on my Facebook group too. But this is my club this month. You get a project, you get supplies for 5 cards with the Cheerful Daisies. The club's called Be Creative. It's $35 if you're local and you want to come in person or do porch pickup. It's $41 if you need it shipped to you. You get about $20 in products with that, additional products to make more cards and projects, and you get this is the suite we're using. These are the daisies, and then these are the dies. They're just so beautiful. And you get a PDF tutorial of all 5 projects, just like the one I showed you that you'll get for this class if you put in an order before Sunday night. All right, that's enough jibber jabbering. Let's get stamping. So this first technique I'm going to show you. Let me grab my paper trimmer because we're going to cut some paper. And let me make sure I've got you pulled up. Hi, Carol. Carol, you're in the UK, aren't you? You know I was there. I think I told you I was going, and I still feel like I'm not back on the right schedule. I think actually Norway kind of made a difference because on the ship, we were so far, north. This is a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. yeah, 4.25. Scoring first. I'm moving my cutting blade out of the way and then just use my scoring blade. And then I'll measure it up here to cut at 5.5. So this is going to make 2 full-size cards. Anyway, on this ship, I was starting to tell you, we were so far north that it didn't get dark until after 11:30 at night. And I mean not get dark, I mean it was like 6 o'clock in the evening here in Nebraska when I say it didn't get dark. It just was so light, and then it would start getting light about 4 in the morning. So there weren't very many hours of darkness, and I think that's maybe what has threw me off even more than just the time. There's 6 hours time difference between here and the UK. So that's enough of a change to your system, but I think the northern, I'm calling them northern lights. They weren't really northern lights, but you know, kind of. I feel like we were close. Anyway, I'm still kind of battling through that. I'm waking up pretty early in the morning still, and my bedtime's been kind of erratic too. Anyway, enough of that. These are the this is the basics Stampin' Emboss powders, and they come all together with clear, white, and black in the catalog or on the online store. And then this is the Embossing Additions Kit, which gives you, not the powder, but it gives you a handy tweezers to hold your cardstock so you don't burn your hands, a little brush, not this, but then it gives you the embossing buddy, and then the tray. This tray has a little stopper on it that you screw on, but I don't really need that because today I just don't need it for what we're doing today, but I usually do keep it on. So we're going to take a piece of 4.25 by 5.5 cardstock. I'm going to get this out of the way for a minute, and I'm going to go over it really well with my embossing buddy. I'm actually even going to pat it out. Can you see the powder? It gets kind of powdery. And actually, before I get too carried away with this, I'm going to make sure I have the edges, because you don't want, this keeps embossing powder from sticking where you may not want it to go. It keeps your embossed images really clean. Now with this particular technique that I'm going to show you right now, it doesn't work the same as you're doing when you're doing detailed image embossing, and we're not doing that this week. We'll do some of that next week, but not this week. This week is week 2, by the way, of my Fun with Embossing Folders series. I'm doing a series of 3 weeks. I'm planning 3 weeks because last week of the month I hope to showcase some new online exclusive products that are coming out. So I hope to have all the, all the embossing techniques that I'm going to show, shown to you by then. We can maybe, if we've got a lot more to look at, we can maybe look at that another time and do another series, because there are just so many things to do. Okay, this is the 3D embossing folder. I'm going to go ahead and emboss it now, and I am going to line it up. Can you see the line? Trying to get, yeah, there it is on the camera. So I'm lining this up. Oh, I don't have my lights on. Well, do I? I'm lining it up with that line. So that's a little more important on some embossing folders than others. But this pattern has a straight up and down, so I want it to be straight in the embossing folder. So I'm gonna just close this. I'm putting the folded edge to go in first. I'm gonna put on my top plate here, and then just run this through. This is the 3D embossing plate. You need this one for 3D embossing folders. It does come with the die cutting machine. This is called the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Gosh, that was kind of hard to get out all of a sudden. Okay, so now we've got this embossed. Mine's gotten a little bit warped because I did a whole bunch of these with swap cards, and I think I just need to put it in the machine upside down and you know, crank it in so that it kind of flattens it out. I just haven't had too much of a chance to do that yet, but you can see our folder. So on this side the image is popped out, and this side the image is really completely different. And if you know, you can always use either side. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to just take my Versamark pad, and I said earlier I was going to remember to do this, and then I didn't remember to do it. I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper here so I don't have ink everywhere, and I'm going to just run this across, and I don't know how much of this you're going to actually be able to see. I'm not pushing it down because I don't want the embossing powder to smush down into the recessed areas. Does that make sense? I want the ones that stick up to get the embossing powder. Now, this is not an exact science, so I am going to get some embossing powder down into those indented places. But I don't care. This is for a fishing card. We're going to play with Gone Fishing today, the Stamps and Bundles. So I don't care. If this was a really elegant card, then I probably would use a different choice of technique. But because this one is kind of, you know, it's not going to be completely even with where my ink goes and where my embossing powder shows up. You can see right here that I have a lot more Versamark here than I do on this side. I might actually try and even that out just a little bit. Okay, that's good. This doesn't have to be precise, and it's not going to be. So this is not a thing you do if you want it to be really precise. Okay, so I'm going to take my powder tray, and I'm going to take my clear embossing powder. Looks like I'm getting all crooked again in here. That's my work surface, not my camera, although my camera is kind of crooked too. Let's see if that makes it better or worse. Nope, worse. Okay, come this way. My instinct is almost always wrong of which way to turn it. Okay, let's see if that's better. That's better. So now I'm going to just go ahead and sprinkle. This is clear. I know it looks like it's white, but it's clear embossing powder over my image, and then I'm just going to tap it lightly to make sure it covers my whole piece of paper. And I'm just going to keep kind of shifting it around so that it gets up and down. Now you can see that it's clinging into those little crevices. There's two reasons for that. One, I live in a humid climate in the summer. It's not super humid, but it's humid enough that it will make your cardstock cling. So what I do is I tip it over, and then I grab the brush and I just start, you know, tapping it off. So I know this is kind of noisy, but I want to get off as much as I can so you can see the variation in it. And this one's clinging more than my original. I've done a couple like this, and looks like this one is clinging more because, of course, it's Facebook Live, and it's not going to go exactly like my original design went. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of embossing powder on this one, but that's okay. As I said, this is not a precise technique, so you kind of have to just be happy with whatever you get. Now here, you know, because I had to hold it, then there's no embossing powder there, so I'm going to try and get a little bit more on. The issue is because I have to put my fingers someplace, and we are going to trim this down, so I'm not going to be too worried about it. So I'm going to grab my tweezers and just hold on to this. Let me get this out of the way so we don't have a bigger mess. Embossing powder can get powder everywhere, but I'll show you a way to clean it up once we get that far. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. Now I'm going to grab my heat tool. It's going to get noisy for a minute, so you do need a heat tool. This is a Stampin' Up! One. It has a protective plastic around the end of it where it gets really hot. That gets really hot. So, and this also has a base for you to actually be able to set your tool up. So I'm going to push it. There's a low and a high. I'm going to go to high. And I'm actually going to emboss from the back a little bit. Let me get this straightened out. Emboss from the back because your cardstock is going to bend a little bit as you emboss. So I'm going to start from the back. Takes a minute for it to get going. And I feel like the clear embossing powder takes a little bit longer. I'm not sure why, but you can see it starting to turn there. So I'm going to keep going with that, and I'm just holding it near. I'm going to switch to the top. Yeah, I think you can see it better. And now that my heating tool is heated up, you can see it melting quite a bit faster. I'm just going to follow it down the side of the card because you can see what's going on here. So this is always a wow. Whether you've been stamping a long time or a short time, or you're just looking at this video and you hopped onto it by accident, this never gets old. It's just always really fun to see embossing powder melt and do what it's supposed to do. And just keep continuing to follow this down. I'm not a fan of doing this. I just follow it down. As it starts to melt, I just follow it. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can. I'm looking in the camera and I think you can see that. Yeah. And then a little bit over here. And a little bit over there. You just want to check your image. Now, there's also a danger of leaving the heat tool on. You don't want to go over and over it because you can, it will become dull. It will kind of like burn. It doesn't burn as in a fire, but it kind of, it gets unshiny. Now there's a couple little places here I'm seeing that I didn't catch, so I'm going to go back and catch these like this. Okay, there we go. So you can see that it isn't particularly even, and I'm okay with that just because of the type of card this is. And you can see that it does kind of melt your cardstock a little bit. If that bothers you, you can take your plate and lay it down for a little while. It won't take very long to actually let that melt. But here's another one. We'll go ahead and use this one since it's already done. Now you can see here, or can you see here right on the edge where I heated it too long? So that did have embossing powder on it, but it's dull. I don't know. I'm going to try and hold this from shiny to dull. Yep, I think you can see it. Okay, so let's use this one, and we'll just let this one sit for a little while, and I'll make something else out of it. It's pretty cool, huh? It's a very cool technique, I think. Okay, so this is just a basic a pattern. Now you could just use most embossing folders. You're just going to use them as the plain cardstock, like this would be. This is the back of our image, but you could use either the front or the back. But look at the difference in how much more texture you get with the clear embossing powder on it. You can also do this with gold and silver. I've done it that way for several cards, but this is a guy's card, so I didn't really want gold or silver on it. It's a Happy Father's Day card. This is one where I put the Versamark ink right on the embossing folder. And we're going to do that today too, but that's another kind of idea. We're going to use this one because in my eyes, this kind of looks like a fishing net. I don't think it. My brother's getting this card. I don't really think he's going to think, oh, that looks like a fishing net. He's probably not going to think anything about it. He'll just think, oh, I like the card. She made me a card. Okay, so I'm going to cut this. Am I out of the picture? Kind of. I'm going to go up to 2 inches here at the top. Here's the 2-inch mark. And I'm going to cut that. And then we're going to go to 5 inches. Cut that. Then while I've got my trimmer out, we're going to, this will be for another card. This is all we're using for our card on this one. So then I'm going to grab some blue cardstock. Let me see, what have I got here? Where's my boho blue card? Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's my card. Getting that ready. And then this is going to, well, we need to do some die cutting, so I'm just going to cut off a piece for die cutting. Well, yeah, we'll be okay. Let me cut this in. I'm going to cut a panel for this first, so sorry to be so wishy-washy. I'm going to go to 5 1/8 inches. Now, if I just go to 5 1/8, here's 5, here's 1/8, it will be 1/16 of an inch bigger, which makes it a little bit narrow. So I'm going to go one more tick, which is 1 more 16th. So this is 5 1/8 plus. I call a plus a 16th. It's just easier than trying to melt, you know, try to calculate everything in 16ths. Then for the width of it, we're going to go 2. Since this is 2, I'm going to go just, here would be 2 1/8, and I'm going to go 1 tick further, so 1/16 further. Whoops, and then I move my cardstock. Here we go. I think that's right. Okay, like that. And so that's going to make a mat for this. That's going to go like this. And that does actually look kind of fat. Well, that's okay. We'll go with it. It doesn't actually look straight, does it? Well, we're gonna go with it. It's fine. It's a handmade card, so we're not gonna worry about it, although I was starting to worry about it. Okay, so we've got that much. Now we do need to do a little bit of die cutting here, and then we're gonna be ready to put our card together. So I'm gonna grab the dies from the fishing set. This is the stamp set we're using. I didn't even show you that. I don't think I showed you the daisies instead of this. Oh, and I told you I'd show you how to clean up embossing powder. Embossing powder is really fine, so it can kind of get everywhere. I keep this little lint, isn't it a lint tool that I got from Dollar Tree actually. And I'm just going to rub this on my work surface here to kind of remove those little specks of embossing powder because they annoy me. I don't like to have my work surface with those little specks. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so we're going to use this today. I'm going to get out the dies for this. I'm going to use the fish today. I'm going to use the bobber. And bobbin is for sewing machine. And then I'm going to also use this lure today. So I'm going to get those out. And then we're going to grab some very vanilla cardstock. I'm going to get my base plate back here. And then for this, for die cutting, I need my number 2 plate. And then I need a number 3. I'll get out my ones that are a little bit more clear than that one. Here's a number 3. Then I'm going to do this a little bit backwards today, and I'll show you why. But I'm actually going to die cut first and then stamp. Usually we stamp first and then die cut. But today we're not going to do that. I'm going to get this out. Sorry, I know I'm really close to the camera. Let me go ahead and cut this down a little bit. We don't need that big a piece. Just kind of gets in the way. Okay, so now we're going to die cut these first. There's a cutting edge, and you put that cutting edge down. That's how the shapes get cut. And then we also need a blue circle. So I'm going to grab a piece of Misty Moonlight, and then I'm going to grab our Stylish Shapes dies, which is this set. Sorry, I see I'm really, really close, and I think I need this one. Let me check this with my sample. Yes, so this is second from the biggest. All right, then we put our plate, our other clear plate on top, and then we're going to send it through. This is my swap card that I did for a demonstrator group that I'm showing you. And I had to make a lot of them. So I got out my Stamparatus. Now we no longer sell them, so I'm really sorry if you're seeing this for the first time and you can't get it. But you can easily just do what I said to do earlier. Just stamp your images first and then die cut them. But I have this all set up because I'm not quite finished with my cards yet. So I didn't want to undo it for the video today, but when you're mass producing, this is what I usually do. I usually set up everything all at one time. So I'm stamping all at one time instead of stamping individual images, and I'll show you why in a moment. Let me get these dies put away. Oh boy, how is everybody doing? I feel like I'm just kind of running ragged a little bit still. I don't know why I shouldn't be, but I feel like I am. Okay, so now I'll show you what I do with this. I'm gonna get this out of the way for a moment. Then we're going to, now to set this up, if you have Stamparatus, all I did was I set my stamps here, and then I closed my lid to get them to stick here, and then I did a bunch of die cutting, so I had a lot of pieces like this, and then I just can put them all in here like so, and then I can stamp them all at once. I'm gonna put my cleaning pad under. So I'm still out of the view, aren't I? Let's go this way. Stay on the mat, Joey. Okay. I'm going to actually move my phone over a little bit and see if that helps. There we go. That's a little bit. That's better. Much better. Okay, now I'm going to take my Misty Moonlight ink, and I'm going to ink these 3 images at one time. As I said, if you're not mass producing, you know, it's not any faster to do it this way. In fact, it's slower. If you are mass producing, this is a little faster than stamping each image and die cutting it separately. Okay, so then I'm going to just go ahead and push here. And those images are pretty good. This one's stuck on the stamp, but that's all right. It looks fine. And looks like my fish is okay, but it looks like my bobbin, bobber. Gosh, my mom was a seamstress. I keep thinking bobbin. Okay, that goes on a sewing machine. Put this over here, and then we'll ink up our little floaty thing. Let's go with that. And then stamp it again, and then our image is pretty clear. Pretty clean image. Okay, so there we go. All right, so those are all ready for our card. Then we're going to do just a little bit of coloring. And I'm sorry, my comments have stopped, so I'm not seeing. Hi Barb. So Barb came on, but that's all I've seen. So if you've been making comments and I haven't answered, or you had a question and I haven't answered it, I will come back and answer all my questions. And if you've left a comment, I will comment back. Okay, now we're going to take this little fish and we're going to do, since this card is for my brother, I always send, of course he's not my dad, but I send him a Father's Day card because he is such a good dad, plus he's my brother. So I send him a Father's Day card. I'm going to take my Light Calypso Coral marker. Really sorry, you guys, if you're making comments. My laptop is just spinning. I don't know why. I have no idea. Sometimes, you know, that's live with the internet. I'm going to take actually the brush, and this one looks like it's about had it, I realize, which actually is not a bad thing for this particular card. We're going to make a rainbow trout because that's what my brother fishes for. So this is just going to be kind of a light little rainbow image. That's all the coloring actually I'm going to do, but I'm also going to take this is a Stampin' Blends, what is it called? It's like an eraser marker. Well, I'm going to use the other end of this one too. And I'm going to just go along that top edge a little bit, and that kind of softens that line a little bit and makes it blend a little bit more. Can you see what that did? It kind of softened that line. What is this called? This is called Color Lifter. It's called the Color Lifter marker. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're ready to assemble our card. So I have my circle. I need to stamp first and then we can assemble. I'm going to take my punch. This is my 2 3/8 inch punch. And I'm going to punch my circle. And if I pick the right stylish shaped circle, I should be able to just layer this on. Yep, that's what I wanted. Okay, now we're going to grab our Happy Father's Day, which I may or may not have put on a block. So glad I didn't have to. Yep, I did not put it on a block, so let me grab that and get it on a glass block. Now when I'm putting images on, I like to put them on my grid paper first and line them up. I might get my head in the camera here. I'll try not to. I'm going to get this lined up. I'm looking across the fathers because it's straight. And now I'm going to actually try and get my block to line up evenly with my grid paper as well. I don't know how much difference it makes, but in my mind it makes a difference, so I tried to do that. I'm going to grab my Misty Moonlight ink, and I forgot to stamp one thing. This is Happy Father's Day. I'm going to go kind of towards the right and kind of towards the bottom. But with a circle, you know, you can always spin it, so that helps with your placement. Then we have to stamp 2 more things. So I need the inside of the bobber, and then I also need the inside of the lure, which I might not have mounted that either. Let me see if it's in here. I've made multiple. I did a whole class with this. Well, yeah, I've been making lots of cards with this stamp set. So I was actually ready for my Facebook Live yesterday. Then I kept playing with it and making more. So I'm going to grab my Calypso Coral ink, and I'm going to stamp the insides of these 2 things. I'm going to just grab my Stampin' Pierce mat since I'm stamping with photopolymer. The Stampin' Pierce mat just gives you a little bit more cushion, and it usually stamps a more solid image when your images are solid. Now the outline one you don't really need it for, but yeah, there we go. So it looks good, and that goes good with our little trout there. Then I'm gonna grab this stamp, and then I'm going to, this is the filler for this lure. For this one, I'm going to stamp it off once a little bit, and then I'm going to add it in here. You know, I think I could do better. It's going to be pretty forgiving, but I want a little more color than that. Let's try it. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay, so there's that. Now, the only reason I put scrap paper here is so that you're not looking at a whole mess while I'm making other cards today, because we've got 3 cards to make, and these are all the ones that you'll get if you make a $35 purchase in my online store or using my host code. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and assemble. I have 2 more pieces of paper. I've got some Designer Series paper. So this is the Let's Go Fishing Designer Series paper. And this Designer Series paper is on sale right now, 15% off. A lot of our paper is, actually most of our paper is on sale for 15% off. Let me show you this paper. This was one that I had in my paper shares, and this is an extra pack. And get it open for Pete's sakes. What the heck? You know, Facebook Live, this is just life. This is the way it goes on Facebook. I hope you're all having a good day. Everybody having a good day out there? Anybody doing anything exciting and fun today? I don't know if I'll get to see your comments, so I'm not even going to know if you're doing something exciting and fun. I'm going to try and reboot my page and see if I can get the video to come up. There we go. I can see the video now. Let's see if I can see your comments. Oh, there we go. We are quietly watching. Okay, Carol. And Kelly got a little heart. Okay, so we're still live. That's good. This is the paper. These are my brother's two favorite colors. Honestly, you know, we're going to make another card with those two colors today. But, and then there's a gray, and then this is the new, not Pebble Path, pecan something. Pecan pie. I should have remembered that. That's my favorite pie. Okay, and this is kind of like a map. Well, it is a map. And this is like a fishing net. And this is just a pattern, kind of a water type pattern. And then here we've got the fishies. Here, let me put it like this. The fishing poles, more water, lures, more lures, and our fish. And the dies do cut out, the fish die does cut out this fish. So this one, you can see that it gets that one, and then there's this one, and then there's this one, and it cuts out all those. This is 12 by 12 paper, but my samples for my my paper share were 6 by 6, but this comes in 12 by 12, just so you know. Okay, so that let's grab our tape, and we'll go ahead and start putting things together. This is our Marina Mist circle. It layers there pretty nicely. This piece of paper is, I think it's 3 by 3.5. Let me check it. Yeah, 3 by 3.5 designer series paper. And the blue is just 1 1/8 inch wider. So it's 3, so it would be 3 1/8 plus by 3 5/8 plus. So there's all our pieces. We want this guys to go. Well, the fish go both ways, but they do have a direction because we don't want them to go upside down. Okay, let's go back to our emboss piece, and we'll go ahead, and for this, I'm actually going to use liquid glue because this is such a deep impression. I just wanted to make sure it doesn't move and wouldn't come off. Okay, I don't get too close to the edge so I don't get my fingers sticky. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on our panel that's just slightly bigger. Like so. Okay, there's that. Then, anybody else making Father's Day cards? I don't have my dad, and we don't have Steve's dad, but I make them for my brother and one of my nieces, her husband. Okay, now we need to know if we're going to go this way or this way. I think maybe this way. I think I need a little more tape. And I'm just deciding that based on the fact of what pattern I want where with the embossing, the clear embossing powder. So I'm going to get this here like so. Now I'm going to go ahead and I want these margins, if that makes sense. So this, what am I trying to say? What's the word? This area from side to side and top and from the top is about the same as it is on this side. Does that make sense? Okay, that's just for proportions. That's how I'm figuring out where I think this should go. And again, I want my fish to be going the right way in the water. So that's how I'm looking at this. About like so. Okay, like that. Then we're going to take this guy. And let's go ahead and click these. No, that dimensional then isn't sticky. I think that was one maybe I was trying to reuse, which really never worked, so I'm not sure why I would have done that. Let's go ahead and stick this Happy Father's Day down here. And again, I'm kind of trying to watch my margins here to have about the same there. All right, then let's put our fish on first. So we're going to put our rainbow trout. I used to fish with my brother and my dad growing up. Girls fish too. but our whole family would go. I grew up in Colorado, which I miss living there, but mostly because my family's there, but I miss the mountains too. But anyway, we would go. My dad loved to fish, and my brother really did too, and he still does. But we would go up to the mountains for the weekend, and we would fish. So if I didn't fish, I didn't really have much to do. My mom would sit and read books. I think I'm going to go like this. I put a mini glue dot on this hook on the lure to go like so. Now this card's taking me a little bit longer. This technique, whoops, no, I don't want those. I want the bigger ones. This technique takes, oh, and I've got them out here for Pete's sakes. I guess I'm blind today. This technique takes a little bit longer than, let's see, how do I want this to go? This is actually going to go, I'm going to put my dimensional over here, and I'm just going to put adhesive on this because I don't want two dimensionals on top of each other, so it gets a little bit tricky when you're, and I'm giving a little bit of room because I'm going to put a bow there, and I don't want the bow to cover up my greeting. All right, you're gonna, those of you that are type A personalities, this is gonna make you crazy, but this is the state of my linen thread right now. So what I do, I haven't ever had one unravel quite like this, and it was, I'm trying not to have the whole thing come apart, and I had a loose end here, and it's been working okay, except now, of course, it's not because I'm on Facebook. So if I don't find it here quickly, I'm just going to grab, here we go. I'm going to grab a new one. So I've been working from this. This is the loose end because I keep thinking eventually I'm going to get around here where I can actually rewind it, but I wasn't willing. I think I just wouldn't have been able to rewind it when there was so much left on the roll. So don't look if that bothers you. Don't look at it. Okay, so I'm just making a little bow out of linen thread. And here, we'll hide this for those of you that it's making you crazy. And we'll grab a mini glue dot. And my mini glue dots have disappeared too. They were just here. Okay, I don't know. Here they are. I put things down absent-mindedly. You know, I reach for them, and then I'm on to the next step, and then I don't know what I did with them. I'm going to get this across. Now I'm going to put this kind of right at the top of this little, whoops, I don't want it covering my greeting. So I'm going to gently pull it off and kind of re-stick it so it's kind of out of the way here. But it adds some texture on our card. So there's our Happy Father's Day card. Then I'm going to take some rustic metallic dots. This is the embellishment I'm planning on sending out with my class kits for this free class with a purchase. And last I looked, they were in stock, so we should be okay. I'm just going to put them around on my card. Maybe here, maybe, let's do it. No, it's maybe here. Okay, so there's our first card with the clear emboss technique is what this is called. So there's the clear emboss technique and Happy Father's Day card from my brother Jeff. And his card's ready. I'm going to be anxious to send it to him. Although who knows when he'll get it. He doesn't know. They don't always get their mail. In fact, they don't for sure get it every day. Okay, so there's those two. So there you go. There's your, and it adds just a lot of texture to your handmade card. And I think this is okay for a guy. I don't think this makes it too girly. It's not too blingy. So I think it's okay. All right, then let's keep going to the next one. And we're not going to emboss anymore, so I'm going to get rid of all of that stuff. Now, we're not going to heat emboss, we're going to emboss. So now we're going to make some bubbles in the background. I'm going to use, since we're dealing with fish, a fishing set, I'm going to use this set of embossing folders. They're called Stripes and Splatters 3D embossing folders. And I'm going to use the one that kind of looks like water drops. And I'm actually going to use the other one too, but that's for different cards, so we're going to go ahead with this one. All right, now for this one, we're going to take our, we'll get this out of the way. We'll bring those back later at the end so you can see all the cards together. We're going to take a piece of boho blue paper, and I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to go direct to my cardstock. Sorry, let me say that again. Direct to my embossing folder. Let me grab the scrap paper again so I don't have too big of a mess. Now, here's the side that says Stampin' Up. On the back, it just says where it was made. So what I'm going to do is, this is the flatter side that's on the back, and that's actually the side I want. If I'm remembering how I did this, hopefully I made these last week, or at least earlier in the week. I think it was at the end of last weekend. I'm just patting this on. And now it is going to get down in the cracks, but again, I'm okay with that because I'm not, you know, embossing folders add a little dimension. They don't really have to be perfect unless you're doing letters. If you're doing text or images, then you do need it to not be a hot mess. But this is kind of a hot mess embossing. Now I'm going to lay my folder here on the, or my cardstock here on the embossing folder. And then I'm going to close it. I'm trying not to disturb it, and then I'm going to grab my machine. Okay, since we're embossing, we want to just do the gray plate again, because this is another 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to put it on my platform, then I'm going to go over it with my 3D embossing plate and run it through. Goes pretty smoothly. Then we're going to lift it up, and then voila. Is that what I wanted? Oh, I think kids, I think I did the wrong thing. Whoops. All right, sorry. I do have to redo it because that doesn't look like water splotches. So ignore what I said the first time. Don't put it on the flat part. You want to put it on the you want to put it on the Stampin' Up side. Right? Yes. Okay. I've done so many techniques this week and last week that I can't even keep it straight. I'm going to dry this off though. Let me grab a, no, I don't have a tissue. Well, I have a paper towel. So I'm going to just, I don't want that to be damp. So now we're going to try it on the, is that right? That doesn't seem right. I'm going to try something first. I'm going to just ink this up on here. Yeah, that's wrong. That's pretty, well, wait a minute. Let me try this. Sorry. Don't watch for a moment so I don't get you mixed up. I'm going to just press on this really hard and see what images I'm getting. Yeah, that's the wrong side. So I must have inked up the side I didn't say I was going to ink up. Wait a minute, hang on, let me look at my sample. Okay, so here's my sample. And let me find that. Yeah, so I want it to do this. So that's right. Okay, so let me grab my, you know, and there's no wrong way. If I wasn't caring that it looked like bubbles, I wouldn't redo it, but I do want it to look like bubbles, so I'm going to redo it. Now what this will do, it will put that flat part, that's the part that will get embossed, the part that's flat, not the bubbles themselves. So the bubbles are going to look like a lighter color. I need to grab another piece of cardstock, so hang on, let me grab my boho blue cardstock. So how many of you like to do heat embossing. Let's get your hands up and let's comment. Put it in a comment if you like to do heat embossing. That's our first question. Now I'm going to lay this down again on the uninked part of my folder. Okay, and then I'm going to close it. Well, again, if I can't see your comments, but I will see them later. I'll come back and respond to your comments. So let me grab it again. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to grab the base plate. Then we'll put down our embossing folder with the folded edge in first. Then we'll grab our, whoops, I gotta go this way. Otherwise I can't get my hand in there. Try not to disturb it too much though. Okay, I'm gonna go this way. Through here, and there, that's what we want. Okay, so remember that you're inking up the Stampin' Up logo side for this particular folder, for this particular technique, okay? So I stared you wrong on the first go around, so I'm sorry about that. All right, now, ink always is a little bit darker before it gets dry. So while that's drying, it's going to get lighter. We're going to take some designer paper, which I don't think I cut yet. So let me grab the whole pack. And we want the pattern that has all the little blue fish on it. So let me grab, this looks like it might be it. That looks like my 6x6 though. Well, that's okay. We're going to grab that. And it's a season for retirements as well. So I have this ready for some retirements that are coming up. Now for this guy, we want these fish to go this way. So this piece is going to be, I think it's one, oh, let's see. 1.5 by 5 1/4. So let's just measure it this way. Am I at the top? Sorry about the glare. I can see my light is glaring. So 1.5. And then we're going to go by 5 1/4. Like so. Then this is going to go down here like that. Then we're also we have one more thing to do. I'm gonna show this to you, but I'm not gonna do it since I already took a little extra time with putting the ink on the wrong side of the embossing folder earlier, but I'll show you how to do it. I'm just not gonna do it on camera. Oops, is that what I want? Oh, you know what? I did this for a full-size piece. We need to cut this down. I do that just in case I do need to cut some of it off. So we're going to go back here and we're going to cut this at 5 1/4. And then we're going to cut it down on this side to 4. Okay, like so. Now you could just put a greeting down here and decorate it like that. I'm going to actually go ahead and layer it so it's like my sample card. Let's go ahead and go down. Oops, no, we want to do something else first. So this is a piece of 3/4 inch by 5 1/4 as well. And then let me show you this die. So in the set of dies, there's this die, and it not only, it cuts on one edge and then it embosses. Can you see the pattern? And since I use Night of Navy, it's going to be probably a little bit hard to see. I'll try and hold it in the light. But I'm trying to see in the camera if you can see it. It doesn't look like you can really see it very well. But it does have embossing on it. So that's actually an additional kind of embossing. The dies that actually emboss too. And there's several in this set that that do that. So they emboss as well as cut. So the waves do that, and then the lures do that. These are weights that you put on fishing line. This little lure is the spinner. This is a spinner that has embossing. So those are oops, oh, for Pete's sakes. There you go. So that's kind of cool. Oops, we want this to go on this. So let me try that again. Alrighty, so we're going to just line this up so that the waves show. Actually, I don't really, I think I'm going to actually go ahead and put this down, lining it up here, and then I'm going to put this on separately. I'm going to put it on with Tombow glue. But I like the way this embossing folder, kind of gives you the idea of water, since we're dealing with fish and kind of like the ocean. At least that's my interpretation. Now I'm just going to put this on top of this designer paper like this. So we have that cool ocean waves coming out. And then we'll put it on our card. This card measures just like I showed you on the first card. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to burnish the fold line with my bone folder. Then we'll go ahead and put this on our... I'll try to pull up your comments again in a moment once I get this taped down so I can see. And if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to give a comment as well. I do go back and check my YouTube comments too. So I don't want to leave you out, and I don't want to miss anything that you want to share. So we've got that. Then I have in this set of dies. So this set of dies is called Nested something, Nested Essentials dies, and that's where I got the die I used for this. I've already die cut it. We're going to stamp Happy Retirement on this one in Night of Navy ink. Let me grab that. And we're going to do that first. We are going to put 2 more lures with hooks on this one. And that helps us know where to put them so that we don't run out of room. So we're going to do the greeting first at the top. And I think the font on this is so cool. I think it's very modern and kind of masculine and kind of funky all at the same time. So we're going to do that. Then I'm going to stamp right on here the lures themselves. I'm going to start with Wild Wheat. Okay. All right, honest opinion, this is a new ink color. How many of you like or have bought or are going to buy Wild Wheat? I'm curious to know. I'll make sure my stamp is clean. I'm going to go ahead and stamp one kind of up like here and one like this. I'll admit I wasn't sure about it, but the more I've used it, the more I like it combined with certain colors, and I really like it on this card. I really like it with Night of Navy. So I'm going to grab my Night of Navy back, and we're going to stamp the inside of this card. Now, for everything in the card kits, everything that is not, like this die is not part of the Gone Fishing set. I'll have all that die cut for you, or like the circle punch and then the circle die. I'll have all that with you in your card kit, and that'll all be done for you. Anything that's in the stamp set, of course I can't send stamp images. Stampin' Up doesn't let us. But anything that's die cut from the stamp set, you'll need to have your own bundle for that. Or you just substitute with something you have. If you have something that'll work for these card layouts, then you just use what you have and you can make some beautiful cards too. It doesn't have to be this stamp set, but just letting you know that that's what you'll get with your kit and what won't be coming with your kit. So I'm gonna put Happy Retirement here. I'm gonna grab some more of this hot mess of linen thread. Now for this, I'm just going to, I'm gonna tie, rather than get all, sorry, you're looking at a crooked hot mess. I'm going to just tie a little knot here, because first of all, it's masculine, and you would have fishing line tied to these hooks. I think these are called lures too. I don't know. Fisher people out there, are these called lures as well? They've got hooks on them. I think so. I think when they aren't just a hook, there's something that's going to attract the fish to them by being bright colored or shiny, like the metal lures, that they're all called lures. I think, I don't know. You know, I don't have my dad anymore. I haven't been fishing since, oh, where the heck happened to my other, oh, here it is. It came flying off. I haven't been fishing since, I think since I went with my dad, so probably since I was a young adult. Okay, let's grab this one. Put this on here. Okay, and I'm gonna trim this off just a little bit. I like linen thread I like it for a lot of things actually. But I think it looks nice on this card. Okay, there's this one, card number 2. I'm gonna put a few little metallic dots on this one too. So we have a little bit of, I don't know if you could actually call it bling, but I think you maybe could call it bling. It's not sparkly, but it does have a little sheen to, the metallic dots do have a little bit of sheen. So I'm gonna put this here, maybe put one here, and for this one, let's go ahead and put this one here. So there's card number 2. All right, so what do you think of this one? I like the colors. I really like this technique with that embossing folder on this card. I think that works really well. Okay, so there's those 2. Now we're on to our last one. Oh, I was going to show you, this is the Paper Pumpkin alternative. I'm sending this actually to my email subscribers this week because these, even though it was last month's Paper Pumpkin kit, these cards and envelopes are still available in the online store. They're in Paper Pumpkin refill kits, so you can get the cards still. And I'm sending this to my newsletter subscribers. So if you'd like to get this tutorial and then future free tutorials and know when my events are, you want to join my newsletter list, I will put that link on YouTube. I'll put it in the comments below. On Facebook, I'm going to put it right now in the comments. So on Facebook, you'll have to search a little bit through the comments to get that link. That's going to be copy, and let me put it in the comments. I can start to see some of your comments a little bit. I see Barb said, I like that embossing folder. I see that comment. So I don't know if there's more after Barb's or not. And my video is still just spinning. So I don't see the video. And right now it's not even bringing up the comments so I can put it in. So let's see what happens. Doggone it, this makes me so frustrated. This has happened the past couple times. I'll try and put it in a bit, or I'll put it in after the video's over. So if you want to get my free tutorials, and I use that same technique that we did on this, with this Timber 3D embossing folder. So, and I explained that in the tutorial that's coming out in my email. So you get all the directions for that one as well. If you're on my email list, that's coming this week. Okay, so that's that. One more card. This one, I did quite a bit of it ahead of time, but we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. So I'm going to grab some silver paper. I'm going to grab some more silver paper, but this one has a sticky backing on it. And I'm going to grab a little circle. We're going to emboss that. Okay, let's get out our machine. We'll bring those back later, and let's do some more embossing. So this one, we're going to go ahead and use those dies I was telling you about earlier. So we're going to use this one that have the embossing in it. They emboss and cut both. We need some hooks. And what else do we need? We need, we need this bigger, flashier lure here. So we need those. And I also need the other embossing folder that goes with the stripes and splatters. We use the splatters, now we're going to use the stripes for this card. So I've got everything out here. Before we try and emboss this, I'm going to go ahead and cut this silver paper. The silver paper comes from, what is it called? I'll get it out. The silver metallic paper. They're not all that silver. There's 3 different colors of silver. I'm gonna just cut this basically in half. I think that's enough here. That's barely gonna fit on there, but it's good enough. And the reason I'm doing that is because when you send your foil through, it can get kind of scratched up from the embossing folder, and I don't want it to be scratched up. Can you see, like with the hook, that's what happened. Although on the hook, who cares? And this has an adhesive sheet on the back of it. So we're gonna do that. We'll do that first, because we have to die cut those first, and they're going to die cut and emboss at the same time. So we will use all of our plates for this. So we've got same thing that you would do if you were just die cutting images or shapes. We're just gonna go ahead and put those on, and then my little hooks here. They're pretty tiny, which is one reason why I put adhesive backing on the sheet. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's a product that you cut it the same size as your cardstock that you're going to emboss, or die cut rather. Die cut, and isn't that cool? I really like the way that embosses and die cuts at the same time. So we're going to get these little guys out of here, and then we'll grab our dies so we don't lose them. Get those put away. Lost my train of thought, which is typical. If you've watched me before, you know that can be common. Get this going here. Let's grab this guy. We need our machine still because we're going to do a little bit more embossing. So I'm going to leave these actually in the die for now so I don't lose them. And I'm going to go now to another embossing folder. So I want to take off plate number 2. So we're down to just the base platform. Then we're going to grab this little circle. It's a stitch circle. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. Like so. And it doesn't really matter where it lands, because it's, you know, and it's not a specific pattern. It's just kind of a random pattern, so it doesn't really matter where it goes. Okay, so that's the end of all our embossing. Then let's go ahead and grab our, so there's what we get with the stripes. Now this time, I'm going to do something a little bit different than we did on the very first card. So the very first card, I used Versamark on it and then embossed it. But for this card, I'm going to actually just take the ink pad. And I'm going to, this is Calypso Coral ink, and I'm going to take cardstock, and I'm going to take Calypso Coral ink. And I'm going to just kind of wipe across gently on this, just so that stands out a little bit more, like that. You see? Now, if I was doing that on a bigger piece, it would be a little bit more noticeable, but I don't really want it to distract from the rest of the things going on my card. I'm hoping it's not too dark already, actually, because on my first card, I didn't do it, so we'll see what you like better. Then we're going to grab, we're going to do a little bit more punching out, so we need to grab some cardstock. We are going to punch, no, not that one, a 2 1/4 inch circle. This is a pretty fast card. If you're looking for a faster card that has just a little bit of embossing on it, this is pretty fast. Then out of Pebble Path, Pebble Path is another new ink color. I'm going to do a 2 3/8 inch circle. So this one is 2 1/4, and this one is 2 3/8, like that. So we've got our circles. Then let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. I'm going to take good things come to those who wait. So this isn't just a Father's Day kit. And obviously there are women that fish as well. But it's also not just, I mean, it's kind of a multi-purpose card or stamp set, actually, because we all know people who are waiting for things, or we're waiting for something, and sometimes that wait seems a long time. We're waiting for Steve's job. My husband's bank was merged with another bank a couple of months ago, and they had someone already in his position, so he lost his position at the bank, and he's been interviewing, and we're waiting, you know, waiting for something to break there. He's had 2 that he was really encouraged about. One he especially liked, but we haven't heard back from them yet, and that's kind of how it goes, that process. So if you're a praying person, you might hold us up in prayers. We're waiting on Steve's job. Okay, I'm going to pry out these little anchors. I don't even know if you can probably see them. Can you even see them? They're really tiny. So there we go. Let's go ahead and I'm going to put it away because I will lose it. It's just too tiny. I'm afraid I'll lose it. Let's go ahead now, and we're gonna. This is all ready to assemble. That's all we have to do. Did I glue this down? Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna grab a piece of Whisper White Thick. This is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored out 4 1/4, just like our other 2. Then I'm gonna go ahead, and I did cut the designer paper 4 by 5 1/4. There's that really pretty gray. The Pebble Bath is really such a pretty gray. So I don't know. I'm not going to know till I get out the video and be able to read your comments, whether you said you liked Wild Wheat or not, or that you'd bought it, or that you're planning to buy it, or you're no, never going to buy Wild Wheat person. You guys, this is messed up. I don't know what's this is. Let me grab another card. Let's just see if it's not that thick. I have quite a few card bases cut, so we're just gonna grab another one, and I'll use that one for scrap paper. So I'm gonna see if I can get your comments to come up again. And I hope you'll try some of these embossing techniques. That was my whole point in making the videos, to share them with you and hope that you'll try them. The one I showed last week, I got a lot of comments saying people were trying it and really having fun with it. It was called the Split Embossing Technique. It was this card that I made last week. There's you use it with 2 different types of embossing folders or patterns. That's on my YouTube channel as well. If you want to go back and watch that one. If you haven't watched it, you can find it there. So we're going to take this piece of Pebble Pad. This is, I think, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Let me check it. Yeah, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And we're going to put this one actually at an angle. I'm going to kind of angle it this way, kind of watching those edges again to make sure I'm kind of equal distance top and bottom as I am right to left. And then this one I'm going to put straight. This is my favorite paper. This will be my brother's favorite paper. But he's getting the fish card. He's not getting that one. Okay, so let me just looking all around to make sure I'm pretty straight. I think that's pretty good. Then we're going to take this circle and do what we did with our other circle on the other card and grab some dimensionals here. I just think these color combinations are so pretty. In this paper, I really like this paper. It's one of the prettiest color combinations, I think, that we have in some of the new paper. We've got a lot of pretty ones, of course. Okay, this is going to go here. Let's see if we think that's going to be too distracting. If that's too much, we're going to pile all this stuff kind of together and put... Is that okay, do you think? Or do you think it's too much with the stripe? Or should it just be the embossed side? Oh, and I can't even see what you're going to tell me, I don't think. Let me try. Pulling it up, darn it. Here, let me swipe my iPad to see what you're saying. Okay, they are lures. We got Maggie, we got that figured out. Now on my iPad, your comments are white on a white background. Maggie has wild wheat. Okay, let's try again. Sorry, you're just going to see my hand swiping. And now they won't even come up swiping. Okay, Kathy really likes wild wheat. There we go. Kathy has wild wheat. Okay, everybody. I'm watching. So Kathy uses embossing folders more than heat embossing. And Barb really likes the embossing. I don't know whether that was white or the powder. She's probably back at her piano lessons. Okay, are you letting me know which one you like? Do you want this one with the ink? So you have to put in the comments inked side up or non-inked side up. So let me know. While you're doing that, I'm going to put my lures together here. I'm going to take that. Okay. This is my old, whoops, that's not it. My old piercing tool. I don't know where I put my new one. And I'm going to actually, I don't know if you can see this. Let me get a dark piece of cardstock so you can maybe see a little better. So I'm just going to peel off this little backing that's part of the adhesive sheets. And then I'm going to put this on the top of this little lure. We're going to put a... Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Hang on. Had to look at my sample. Of course, it's going to stick. We want this one and then our other one. Didn't I cut the other one? I know I did. Oh, here it is. Okay. So we're going to put this one and then the hook. So all of this. Now in the water, this would really be shiny and they would turn. The spinners turn in the water to attract the fish. And that's how you can get them to bite take the bait. Okay, now this one is gonna go, we're gonna go back to this one that I took. Here, let me go here so you can kind of see a little better. We're gonna go there, and then this little tiny hook is gonna go right on top of all this stuff here. Just gonna go off a little bit, and then this is all gonna go here. So let me see if I can see any comments about whether you like the inked side of this little thing. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm sorry, I just can't. Just doesn't bring them up. So I don't even know what you're saying. You could be saying pretty much anything. You could be telling me you don't even like this card. You could be. I doubt you're saying that because you're all so sweet. But Okay, let me try again. Let me see if I can pull up the comments. You know, because if you swipe, you're supposed to bring them up. But no, okay. We're going to go, since this is a class on embossing, we're going to go with the emboss side. And I'm going to, if I go, let's look at it. If I go straight up and down, I don't want it to go the same way as the stripes, or do I? Maybe I do, actually. No. What about this way? I think maybe opposite way. Let's try it. Now, a lot of this is going to be covered up anyway by partly this and then partly by all our silver lures. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the lower part of these lures, not the top part, because that, again, is going to be on the tag itself. So let me get these wrapped around here. And then go here. Oops. Like so. Okay, and then we'll go back to our linen thread, our hot mess of linen thread. And we go over like this. And if you're just joining me, you're probably thinking, what in the world is she doing with that mess of linen thread? It came off the spool. I mean, it started. It isn't completely off because I'm afraid if I pull it off, I will have a complete mess and never be able to salvage it. So I'm trying to salvage it, so don't look. And when I'm not on Facebook Live, you know, then it unravels easier. But of course, if you're watching, then it's like, it won't work at all. All right, so then let's go back to our mini glue dots. And this is our last card. So again, if you'd like to get this card in the mail, put in your $35 order in my online store by using this host code. This host code is tied to me and it's tied to this free class. This is a class to go only. This class doesn't meet in person. But you'll get a PDF tutorial, all the parts for these cards. If you spend $50, you'll also get an embellishment. Hopefully the dots that we used today, the rustic metallic dots. Oh, let's put some, speaking of dots, let's put some on our card so we have a little bit of bling on it. I think this is okay for the guys. It's not sparkly, so I think we're good with that. But it gives a little bit of sheen and adds a little bit of interest. Let's come down here maybe. Okay, there's that one, everybody. So here is my other one. I didn't get bling on this one either. I think it needs a little bit. That's good like that. And then here we've got these two. And then this one with our embossing technique. This is called clear emboss technique. This is called letter press. This has a name. It's called letter press. And I don't know what this is called. I think swipe, the swipe technique, something like that. Swiping embossing technique. I'll have it all in your PDF tutorial when you get it from your order. And let me just see if I can find. I'm trying desperately to get your comments to come up, but they just won't. So let me bring up the phone and thank you for watching today. I really appreciate you spending time with me. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell. And I hope you'll join me next Wednesday too. We'll do some more embossing techniques and we'll do another full class with several embossing techniques. So thanks again, you guys. I'm sorry I couldn't see your comments. Oh, here we go. Ink side up. Oh, ink. And thanks for sharing, Debbie. Appreciate it. Ink side up. Oh, good. I got it right because you guys wanted the ink side up on this one. And there, I think it looks, yeah, you can definitely tell. No ink, ink side. I miss seeing you and visiting with you. Thank you. I'm glad you liked them, Kathleen. That makes me feel happy. I saw your comment that said you loved all the cards today. Maggie, thank you. Carol, thank you. Everybody, thanks so much. All right. And I'm happy to know that some of you are liking wild wheat. I just wondered if we were going to have 2 years of something that no one liked. But I'm glad you're liking it and using it. I think it'll be really pretty for fall cards. All right, my friends, thanks so much for spending time with me. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.